to TV Trash. Well, here we go again. I don't like consistently dragging one of the greatest names in animation through the mud, but I find myself once again reviewing a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. William Hanna and Joe Barbera practically invented animated TV. After years of making Tom and Jerry cartoons for MGM that were shown in theaters, they formed their own animation studio in the 1950s and proceeded to make a ton of cartoon shows through the 90s, mainly because they were among the first to produce it on the cheap. As a result, their entire body of work is pretty hit and miss. They did give us classics like the Smurfs, the Flintstones, Scooby-Doo, and the Jetsons, but those were interspersed with Jabberjaw, all those adaptations of live action shows I mentioned, and a long list of other crap. And I've got now what many consider to be among the worst to come out of their library. This is Yo Yogi. Back in the 80s and 90s, another trend was for animators to repackage their most popular characters as kids. This was largely due to the Muppet Babies. Jim Henson's cartoon of his Muppets as infants was a huge Saturday morning hit that everyone tried to copy. Heck, Hanna-Barbera had already succeeded at it with the Flintstone kids before they went to this show. Yo Yogi features what I like to call the Hanna gang. You know, Yogi Bear and Boo Boo, Cindy, Huckleberry Hound, Snagglepuss. Here, they're portrayed as teenagers, and good God, what are they wearing? Look, I never like stealing a critique from the nostalgia critic, but this is like the cartoon version of Saved by the Bell, where everything looks 5 years out of style. The show primarily takes place in the Jellystone Mall. Yes, from what I can tell, they bulldozed half of Jellystone Park to build a shopping mall. Considering this was in the era of Captain Planet, I'm amazed this even got approved.
Jellystone Mall. Just think of the opportunities.
Yeah, they tore down all of our trees and bushes, but look, Hot Topic! Here are the characters' personalities as best as I can figure. Cindy is naturally the Valley girl who's all into fitness and fashion with the annoying voice to go along with it. Huckleberry is a jock, or at least thinks he is. Snagglepuss is the drama prince with no gay overtones whatsoever and wants to watch movies all the time. And Yogi is, well, kinda like his regular self. Only now, instead of swiping picnic baskets, he's grabbing free samples from the food court. About the only thing that would make this lamer would be a bratty half-pint version of a lame Hanna-Barbera villain. Ding ding, jackpot! Meet little Dickie Dastardly. This show is really testing my moratorium on gay jokes. Dickie must have the richest parents in Jellystone, as he has a bike that Inspector Gadget would be jealous of, yet all he wants to do is cause trouble around the mall.
This is definitely the place to be.
Okay, one point to this show, because that actually makes more sense than his grown-up self cheating to try and win all those wacky races. The mall, meanwhile, is run by Doggy Daddy, who, along with Augie Doggy, is at his regular age while everyone else is younger. Trust me, that's not even the tip of the iceberg with this show. And is protected by Mall Cop Smith.
I can monitor every corner of the mall.
Spoiler alert, he makes Paul Blart look competent. Not a good comparison. So Dickie frames Yogi and gets him banned from the mall, giving us all the hope that this series will end in one episode, but Yogi helps catch a crooked store owner or something, and Doggy names him to the security staff to handle their lost and found cases. I think I'd rather trust Orson Pig's brothers to guard my vegetable crop.
It wouldn't be so hard if Yogi'd stop being such a heel and help out.
Yeah, sorry, Cindy, but I've got a little lost and found project of my own. I haven't lost my appetite, so I've got to find some sandwich fixins.
So most of the episodes are around Yogi and his friends stopping crooks and solving mysteries because this Yogi apparently has dreams of being a detective. Yeah, don't ask me where that came from. They throw in a ton of guest stars and other Hannah characters like Adam Ant and Super Snooper as if to try to put their entire troupe into one universe, which they did a whole lot better in their Superstars 10 movie series. Seriously, if Boomerang ever airs The Good, the Bad, and Huckleberry Hound, record it! You'll thank me! Now, the basic premise of the show was not that bad. A TV series about Yogi and the whole Hannah gang could have been really fun, just like Yogi's treasure hunt. It could have even been in an urban setting. But turning them into trendy 90s teenagers was just unnecessary. It was clearly an attempt by HB to make their characters look cooler and hipper and have more cred, yo, or whatever. And all that ever ends up doing is making the cartoons look dated in the long run. Think I'm exaggerating?
Magilla Ice is giving a concert at the mall tonight. He's a star, a luminary.
Although I will admit Magilla Gorilla is supposedly the most annoying of the Hannah bunch, so for him to be the Vanilla Ice ripoff, yeah, that's pretty much accurate. Oh, and by the way, get used to Yogi talking in rhyme because he never stops. It's been a long time since I saw an original Yogi Bear short, but I don't recall those featuring Yogi trying to be like Dr. Seuss and failing miserably.
Just leave this problem to me. I'll solve it faster than 1, 2, 3. Juggling food is lots of fun. Especially when I'm done.
Because this was a cartoon show from the 90s, we had to have episodes that tried to sneak in lessons, you know, to appease the parents who were too busy to do such teaching themselves. So we get ones about Huck needing to be more assertive, and one about Snagglepuss getting over his fear of the dark.
I'm the only kid I know who has to sleep with a spotlight.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with me.
Kid, if you're still scared of the dark as a teenager, you're gonna need a lot more than just help from your friends. And if those weren't enough to draw you in, how about this one where Yogi can't do anything without his hat?
But that was my lucky hat. Without it, I'm gonna be unluckier than the average bear.
How ridiculous is that? A character who has to wear his hat all the time. The episodes seem to follow the same format for the most part. The group acts like a bunch of buffoons for much of the show, while Dickie makes Dr. Draken look like a mad genius by comparison, only for them to somehow put everything together at the end and catch the crook. Apparently not even Hanna-Barbera thought the stories alone would be enough to get ratings because they threw in this ridiculous promotion where some scenes were shot in 3D. The glasses needed to view them came out of Rice Krispies boxes, and Yogi would twirl his hat to signal when a 3D scene was coming up. I can't claim to have seen these 3D scenes, but knowing what 3D was like in the 90s, it couldn't have been good. And by the way, it didn't work because the show only lasted one 13-episode season.
Yo Yogi, yo, yo Yogi!
Yo, Yogi! Forget about it! My take on Hannah's attempt to turn its characters into hip teenagers? It's not the worst cartoon I've seen, but it's just lame as all get out, with dated dialogue and appearances. I can't definitely blame this show for everything that happened next, but it's not pretty. NBC discontinued its Saturday morning lineup shortly after this. Hanna-Barbera lasted only 4 more years before Time Warner bought it up, and the only hit they produced in that period was SWAT Cats. They helped produce the first string of Cartoon Network's original shows before the name was discontinued forever. Now I think I'm gonna go rent the Yogi Bear live action movie because it can't possibly be any worse than this garbage. See you next time on TV Trash.